Have you ever considered that the person you think you are might just be a dream? That your entire life, all your thoughts, all your desires, are a grand illusion created by the mind? Imagine, right now, at this very moment, you are asleep. And what you call I, your personality, your character, your story, is merely a character in this dream. Most people live their entire lives without ever waking up. They die never knowing who they truly are. They have identified with the mask so deeply that they've forgotten about the existence of their true face. The ancients called this Maya, the great cosmic illusion. Not an illusion in the sense that the world doesn't exist, but an illusion in that we misperceive its nature. We see only shadows on the cave wall and mistake them for reality. What if I told you that you're living in a matrix? Not in a computer simulation like in the movie, but in the matrix of your own conditioned mind. And this matrix is so perfect that you don't even suspect its existence. Moreover, you yourself are this matrix. You are not imprisoned. You are the prison itself. You keep yourself captive without even realizing it. Plato, 2,500 years ago, described this in his famous allegory of the cave. People are chained in a dark cave, seeing only shadows on the wall. These shadows are cast by objects carried past a fire behind them, and the prisoners take these shadows as the only reality. Even when told about the outside world, about the real light of the sun, they don't believe. Moreover, they don't want to leave the cave because they're accustomed to the shadows. The familiar seems safe to them. Today, humanity is in the same cave. Only now, the shadows are our thoughts, our concepts, our beliefs. The world of thinking has become the only world we know. But there is another world, a world beyond thinking, a world beyond the conditioned mind. The world of your true nature. Are you ready to leave the cave? Are you ready to abandon everything you know to discover the truth about who you really are? This journey will require courage from you, because awakening means death. Not physical death, but the death of the personality you've identified with for so long, the death of the illusion of the separate I. Ancient teachings say, to know your true nature, you must learn to die before you die. You must allow the personality to dissolve so that the true essence can emerge.
Let's explore deeper how this illusion is structured. How does the mechanism work that keeps us in a state of sleep? Maya is not just a concept, it is a living force, a cosmic energy creating the illusion of multiplicity where only unity exists. It makes us see separation where there is only wholeness. Imagine an ocean. On the surface, countless waves. Each wave seems separate, unique, having its own life. But in reality, all waves are the same ocean. They were never separate. So it is with us. We consider ourselves separate beings, isolated from each other, from nature, from the cosmos. This is the primary illusion, the illusion of separation. From this primary illusion, all others grow. If I am separate, then others exist. If others exist, fear arises. Fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of death. From fear is born the desire to protect oneself, to strengthen boundaries, to prove one's significance. Thus, the ego is formed, a defense structure of the illusory I. The ego is not an enemy to be defeated. It's a survival mechanism that was necessary at a certain stage of evolution. The problem arises when we completely identify with it, forgetting our true nature. Maya works through identification. First, we identify with the body. I am the body. Then with thoughts. I am my thoughts. Then with emotions, with our story, with our achievements, with our roles. Layer by layer, we put on clothes of identifications, and at some point, we no longer remember who we are under all these layers. We have forgotten the nakedness of our true nature. Ancient teachings describe this as koshas, sheaths covering the soul. Physical sheath, energetic, mental, wisdom sheath, bliss sheath. Each is a level of identification, another mirror of illusion. But here's what's important to understand. Maya is not something bad or evil. It's not a mistake of creation. It's part of the divine play, the cosmic dance of consciousness with itself. Through Maya, unified consciousness experiences itself as multiplicity. Through the illusion of separation, it knows the joy of reunion. Through forgetting, it experiences the ecstasy of remembering. The problem is not the existence of Maya. The problem is that we have completely lost ourselves in the illusion, forgetting that it's a game. We've taken the role for reality, the mask for the face, the dream for awakening. Awakening is not the destruction of Maya, it's the recognition of its illusory nature. When you wake up, the dream doesn't disappear from memory, you simply understand it was a dream. So it is here. When awakening happens, the world doesn't disappear. Body, thoughts, emotions continue to exist. But now you know that all this is temporary waves on the surface of the infinite ocean of consciousness. You stop being a wave pretending to be separate from the ocean. You recognize yourself as the ocean itself, playing at waves.
Now let's explore the specific mechanism through which the illusion works. This mechanism can be called the matrix of the conditioned mind. From the moment of birth, we are immersed in an ocean of conditioning. Parents, society, culture, religion, education, all of this programs our mind in a certain way. We absorb beliefs, values, thought patterns. By the time we turn 7, most of our personality is already formed. We've learned what is good and what is bad, who we should be and who we shouldn't be. This conditioning is not bad in itself. It's necessary for survival in society. The problem is that we completely identify with this conditioned mind, taking it for our true nature. We start thinking that the thoughts arising in the mind are our thoughts. But if you look carefully, you'll see thoughts come by themselves. You don't choose them, they just arise. Where do thoughts come from? From conditioning, from memory, from social programs loaded into your mind since childhood. The vast majority of your thoughts are not your thoughts. They are collective thought patterns. Same with emotions. You think your emotional reactions are your reactions, but actually they are automatic programs triggered by certain stimuli. Someone says something, and you automatically get angry. Something happens, and you automatically feel fear or joy. This is not a free response. It's a conditioned program. Imagine a computer with an operating system and many programs. You think you're the computer's user, but actually, you've identified with the computer itself and its programs. You've forgotten that you're the one watching the screen. The matrix of the conditioned mind consists of endless patterns, thought patterns, emotional patterns, behavioral patterns. They work automatically, without your conscious participation. You wake up in the morning and automatically grab your phone, automatically check social media, automatically drink coffee, automatically think certain thoughts, automatically react in certain ways. Where in this automatism are you? Where is your freedom? Where is your choice? Buddha called this state samsara, the wheel of conditioned existence, an endless cycle of mechanical reactions. You spin in this wheel like a hamster on a wheel, thinking you're moving somewhere,
but actually staying in place. Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am." But this is the greatest mistake of Western philosophy. It would be more correct to say, "I think, therefore I sleep," because identification with thinking is the sleep itself. The true I is not in thoughts. It is in the one who watches thoughts, in the space of awareness that exists before and beyond any thinking. When ancient teachers said, "Know thyself," they didn't mean learn your history, your thoughts, your character traits. They meant know the one who exists before all stories, before all thoughts. Awakening begins with awareness of the matrix, with understanding that you live in a state of automatism, with recognition that the vast majority of your actions, thoughts, and emotions are mechanical, conditioned. This can be a painful realization. The ego resists this understanding because it's built on the illusion of control and freedom of choice. To admit that you're a robot functioning by programs means to die for the ego. But it's precisely this death of illusion that opens the door to true freedom, because only by realizing mechanicalness can you transcend it. Only by seeing the dream can you wake up.
Now let's explore a deeper level, the structure of what can be called ego system, or simply ego. The ego is not some separate entity inside you. It's a complex system of programs, patterns, defense mechanisms built around the idea of a separate I. Imagine an ancient city with high walls, towers, gates, labyrinthine streets. This architecture was created for protection. So too the ego. It's the architecture of defense of the illusory separate I. At the center of this system is existential fear. Fear of death, fear of non-being, fear of disappearance. This primary fear generates all other fears. Fear of rejection, fear of loneliness, fear of meaninglessness. From this fear grows the basic program of ego, survival. Not physical survival, though that's important too, but survival of the very idea of the separate I. The ego must constantly prove that it exists, that it matters, that it has significance. How does it do this? Through endless desires and aversions. The ego constantly wants something. More money, more power, more love, more recognition, more. This more never ends, because desire is not in the thing itself, desire is in the very structure of ego. Even when the ego gets what it wants, satisfaction doesn't last long. Very quickly, a new desire arises. Why? Because each desire reinforces the illusion of separation. When I want something, it confirms that I exist as a separate entity needing something from the external world. Same with aversion. The ego system is constantly running from something, from pain, from discomfort, from unpleasant emotions, from uncomfortable situations. This avoidance also reinforces the sense of separation. The ego system consists of many little bosses, as ancient teachings called them. One little boss wants food, another, sex, third, power, fourth, approval, fifth, security. These little bosses constantly scream, demanding attention, and we spend our whole lives trying to satisfy their demands. But it's impossible. The more we feed them, the stronger they become, the louder they scream. It's like addiction. The more of the drug you give the system, the more it needs. Tolerance grows, and an ever larger dose is required for the same effect. It's important to understand, the ego system is not an enemy. It's not something bad that needs to be destroyed. It's a mechanism that was necessary for the formation of individual consciousness,
for evolution from collective unconsciousness to individual awareness. The problem is not the existence of ego. The problem is complete identification with it, in believing that the ego is you. An ancient story from Egyptian mythology speaks of the Book of Thoth, sacred knowledge guarded by a golden serpent. This serpent is a symbol of the ego system guarding access to higher knowledge. The serpent is not an enemy, it's a guardian. It protects sacred knowledge from those who aren't ready. Because if an unawakened ego gains access to power, it will use this power to strengthen illusion, to intensify suffering. This is why in the story of Adam and Eve, the forbidden fruit, the fruit of the tree of knowledge, brings suffering. Not because knowledge is bad, but because the ego that receives knowledge separates from the source, from God, from wholeness. The ego system is like a computer virus that has hijacked the operating system and convinced it that the virus is the system itself. You cannot delete the ego by fighting it, because the one who fights is also the ego. The only way is awareness, observing the work of the ego system without identifying with it. Seeing its mechanisms, its tricks, its endless games. When you begin to observe the ego, something amazing happens. Space appears between you and the ego. You understand, I can observe the ego, therefore I am not the ego. This is the beginning of liberation. The deepest insight that can come. You are not in prison. You are the prison itself. The ego system is not something that holds you captive. It's the structure you've identified with. And the paradox is that this very understanding liberates. Because if you are the prison, then there really is no prison. There is only the illusion of captivity created by identification. Awakening is not escape from prison. It's the realization that the prison never existed. There was only a game of hide and seek of consciousness with itself.
René Descartes, the father of Western philosophy, wrote about the possible existence of an evil demon that holds us under a veil of illusion. He imagined some external force creating false reality. But Descartes didn't recognize the truth. The demon is the conditioned mind itself. The demon is the ego system we've identified with. There is no external enemy. The enemy is within. More precisely, we ourselves are this enemy. It's like the movie The Matrix. People think machines hold them in illusion, but the real matrix is the human conditioned mind. We ourselves create our prison, our jailer, our chains. People always want to blame someone or something external. Government, Illuminati, the system, other people, circumstances. This is very convenient for the ego to always have an external enemy. Because while there's an external enemy, the ego can remain invisible. But the truth is more radical and more liberating. There is no external controller. The machine sucking out your life energy day after day is yourself. More precisely, the ego structure you've identified with. This machine works through endless repetition. Buddhists call this the wheel of samsara. Christians speak of sin, which literally means to miss the mark, to miss the present moment. Every day you repeat the same patterns. Wake up, check your phone, think the same thoughts, feel the same emotions, react the same way, do the same things, go to sleep. Tomorrow, the same. In a year, the same. In 10 years, the same. Life becomes mechanical repetition, a prison cell of time. The Greek myth of Sisyphus is a perfect metaphor for this state. Sisyphus is condemned to eternally push a stone to the top of a mountain only for it to roll back down. Endless, meaningless repetition. Albert Camus asked, How to find meaning in this absurd existence? But he sought the answer in philosophy, in the mind. And the answer lies beyond the mind. The true answer: realize the absurdity. Totally, completely, without trying to rationalize or explain. When you truly see the absurdity of mechanical existence, something happens. Either you go mad, or you wake up. To go mad while remaining identified with ego means to enter an even deeper nightmare. To wake up means to transcend the ego, to see its game, to stop identifying with it. The demon holding you captive has many masks. Sometimes it looks like the inner critic, constantly judging and condemning you. Sometimes like the inner victim, always complaining about life's injustice. Sometimes the demon wears the mask of the seeker, one who's always seeking something better, something else, some future enlightenment. Even the spiritual path can become another ego game, another way to strengthen the illusion of the separate I. There are people who engage in spiritual practices for years, decades, but remain in the same state of conditioning, because it's the ego practicing. The seeker seeks, the doer does. But while there's a doer, true meditation is impossible. True meditation is not activity. It's the cessation of activity. It's the death of the doer, the seeker, the practitioner. It's the complete stopping of the demon. How to stop the demon? Not through struggle, because the one who fights the demon is the demon itself in another mask. Struggle only strengthens the illusion. The demon stops through seeing, through ruthless, honest, continuous observation of its work. When you truly see the mechanism begins to dissolve. It's like in fairy tales. When you name the demon, it loses its power. But the demon's name is not some magic word. The demon's name is understanding its nature, seeing its structure. Imagine you feared a monster under the bed your whole life, and then one day you looked there and saw there are only shadows created by your imagination. In the moment of this seeing, fear disappears. Not because you defeated the monster, but because you understood the monster never existed. So it is here. The demon holding you captive is a collection of conditioned patterns to which you gave power through belief in their reality, through identification with them. In the moment when you see, this is not me, this is a mechanism, this is a program, liberation begins. Not instant, not complete, but it begins. Space appears between you and the mechanism. This space is the greatest treasure. In this space lives freedom. In this space dwells your true nature. In this space awakens that which was always here but was forgotten. Now let's look at this whole situation from another perspective, a perspective that may seem paradoxical after everything we've discussed. In ancient teachings, there's a concept of Leela, the divine play. This is the understanding that the entire universe, including the illusion of separation, including suffering, including ego, all of this is part of consciousness's cosmic game with itself. Unified consciousness, being infinite and eternal, cannot know itself in its totality while remaining unified. Therefore, it plays a game of forgetting and remembering, separation and reunion, losing and finding itself. This doesn't mean suffering is an illusion in the sense of unreal. Suffering is real at its level, but this understanding changes the relationship to suffering, to life, to the very game of existence. Imagine an actor on stage. When he plays a tragic role, he truly feels emotions, experiences drama. But backstage, he knows it's a game. He doesn't lose himself completely in the role. Humanity's problem is that we've lost ourselves in the role. We've forgotten we're actors.
We've forgotten about the stage, about the audience, about the fact that behind the scenes there's another reality. Awakening is not exiting the game. It's realizing that it is a game. After this realization, you continue playing your role, but you no longer lose yourself in it. You play consciously, with full awareness. The paradox is that when you stop identifying with the role, you can play it even better, even more fully, because there's no longer fear of losing yourself, no resistance to what is. In Buddhism, there's an expression, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Externally, nothing changes, but internally, everything changes. What changes? Internal resistance, struggle, attempt to control, fear. All of this falls away. What remains is pure action, free from ego, from personal interest. This is Lila. When you act in the world, but the world no longer acts on you. When you participate in the game, but don't get entangled in it. When you live a full life, but without attachment to results. The ancient Indian sacred book, Bhagavad Gita, speaks precisely about this. Arjuna stands on the battlefield. Before him are enemies, among them his relatives and teachers. He doesn't want to fight. Krishna tells him, your duty is to fight, but fight without attachment to the fruits of action. Act because this action is right in this moment, not because you want a certain result. This seems contradictory. How can you act without desiring a result? But this is precisely the state in which there's no ego. Action happens, but there's no I doing the action. Tao Te Ching describes this as non-doing, or doing through non-doing. Not inaction, but action free from ego motivation. Action that flows from the very nature of the moment, not from personal desires. When a Zen master prepares tea, he simply prepares tea. There's no master separate from tea preparation. No division between subject and object, between doer and action. There's only pure process happening by itself. This is life after awakening, not rejection of life, not withdrawal from the world, but full participation in life without identification. Dance without a dancer, song without a singer, life without one who lives. Sounds abstract. That's because the mind is trying to understand what's beyond the mind. The mind works through division. There's I and there's world. There's subject and object. But in the awakened state, this division disappears. Not intellectually, you can still say I and world, but at the level of experience, at the level of direct knowing. You realize there's no me taking a breath. Breathing simply happens. No me thinking thoughts. Thoughts simply arise and disappear. No me experiencing life. Life simply unfolds. And this is not a cold, detached state, as it might seem to the mind. On the contrary, it's a state of full involvement, full openness, full love, because when there's no separate I, there's no barrier between you and the world. You become the world, or more precisely, you realize you always were the world, always were everything that is. The illusion of separation was just a game you got so engrossed in that you forgot it was a game. Lila is an invitation to play consciously, not to renounce the game, but to play with joy, with lightness, knowing it's a game, to accept your role fully, but not lose yourself in it.
Now let's talk about the practical, how to begin the path of awakening. What keys open the door from the prison of illusion? The first and most important key is honesty. Ruthless, merciless honesty with yourself. The ability to look at your life and admit, I am asleep. I live mechanically. I am not free. This is the most difficult step, because the ego deceives brilliantly. It convinces you that you're already aware, already awakened, already free. Especially if you engage in spiritual practices, read books, watch videos. The ego creates a spiritual personality, another mask, an even more subtle illusion. You think, I meditate, therefore I'm on the path. But who meditates? If the ego meditates, it's not meditation, it's another ego activity. Therefore, the first key is awareness of the depth of the problem. Not intellectual understanding, but living, painful awareness of how lost you are in conditioning. Examine your life. Can you stop mechanical patterns if you want to? Can you stop checking your phone every 5 minutes? Can you sit in complete silence for an hour without distraction? Can you stop judging people? Stop criticizing yourself? Stop comparing yourself to others? If you have an addiction to food, to approval, to entertainment, can you simply stop it? Most people will honestly answer, no, I can't. And this is a good sign. This means honesty is beginning. Because while you think, I can control this, I just don't want to now, you're asleep. The second key is observation. Not trying to change, not fighting, not suppressing, just pure observation. Watch your thoughts like clouds in the sky. They come and go. You're not the cloud, you're the sky. Watch emotions like waves in the ocean. They rise and fall. You're not the wave, you're the ocean. Watch desires, fears, all movements of mind. The key is to observe without judgment. Not, this is a bad thought, or this is a good feeling. Simply, here's a thought, here's a feeling. Neutral, non-evaluative awareness. When you begin to observe, magic happens. Space appears, a tiny gap between you and the mind. In this gap lives freedom. The more you observe, the more this space grows. The third key is presence, being here and now. Not in the past, not in the future, not in thoughts about the present, but in the very experience of the present moment. Feel your breath right now. Don't think about breathing, feel it. Feel the air entering your nostrils, the movement of your chest, the pause between inhale and exhale. Feel your body, not the image of body in mind, but the living sensation of being in the body. Tingling, warmth, heaviness, lightness, all subtle sensations usually ignored. Presence is not a concept. It's a living state of complete involvement in what is now. When you're fully present, the mind quiets, because the mind lives in past and future. In the present moment, there's no place for it. The fourth key is acceptance. This is not submission, not passivity, not resignation to injustice. It's an inner yes to what is in this moment. Whatever is happening, pleasant or unpleasant, desired or undesired, can you say yes to this moment? Not, I like this, but simply, this is, I acknowledge this. Resistance to what is, this is the basic activity of the ego. The ego constantly says, this shouldn't be so. I want it to be different. This is unfair. This is wrong. When you stop resisting, enormous energy is freed, energy that was spent fighting reality. This freed energy begins to transform you from within. The sixth key is inquiry, not intellectual, but existential. Ask yourself, who am I? Don't seek the answer in mind. Don't say, I am the body, or I am the soul. Penetrate deeper. Who is the one asking, who am I?
Who watches thoughts? Who is aware of awareness? Penetrate to the very source, to the root of the sense, I am. Ramana Maharshi taught this method of self-inquiry. Constantly return to the question, who am I? Each time a thought, feeling, desire arises, ask, to whom does this come? Who experiences this? The answer will always be, to me, I. Then ask, who is this I? Don't accept any answer from the mind. Penetrate deeper into the very sense of existence, into pure I am without any content. The sixth key is humility, willingness to not know, willingness to abandon all your concepts, beliefs, knowledge. Beginner's mind, as they say in Zen. Socrates was called the wisest man of his time because he said, I know that I know nothing. This is not wordplay. This is deepest wisdom. The state of not knowing is the gateway to truth. When you think you know, you're closed to the new. When you admit you don't know, you're open. In this openness, awakening can happen. The seventh key is patience. Awakening doesn't happen on schedule. You cannot force it to happen. You can only create conditions and then wait. Like a farmer who plants seeds and waits for harvest. He cannot make seeds grow faster. He can only provide good soil, water, light, and wait with patience. So it is here. You cannot achieve awakening through ego effort, but you can prepare the soil through honesty, observation, presence, acceptance, inquiry, humility. And most important, don't turn this into another ego goal. Don't say, I want to awaken to become better, to be special, to solve my problems. True aspiration for awakening is born from understanding that nothing in the world of forms can give you what you seek, that everything external is temporary, everything changes, everything ultimately disappears. Only truth is eternal. Only awareness of your true nature brings peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. And this is not selfish desire. It's the soul's call home.
So we've come to the final part of our journey. What is awakening, and what happens after it? First of all, it's important to understand awakening is not an achievement. It's not something you add to yourself. It's the removal of layers of illusion, masks, identifications. It's the discovery of what was always here. Imagine an onion. You remove layer after layer, thinking you'll reach the core. But when all layers are removed, you discover there is no core. There is only emptiness. And this is not disappointment, it's revelation. Because this emptiness is not nothing in the negative sense, it's fullness that appears as emptiness to the mind. It's everything that cannot be grasped as something. Awakening is often described as death, and it's true. But what dies? The illusion of the separate I dies. The personality you thought you were dies. The seeker, the practitioner, the doer dies. This may sound frightening. The ego fears this most of all. But what remains after this death is what was never born and will never die. Your true nature, which was here before the body, before thoughts, before everything. In the moment of awakening, recognition happens. Not knowing something new, but recognizing what you always knew but forgot. As if you've worn dark glasses your whole life and suddenly took them off and saw the world in color. The world didn't change. Perception changed. Or more precisely, the filter distorting perception disappeared. You see the same thing, but completely differently. What specifically changes? First of all, the sense of separation disappears. Not intellectually, but experientially. You stop feeling yourself as an isolated entity, separated from the world. The boundaries between I and other become transparent. You realize I and the world are not two, but one. Observer and observed, one. Subject and object, one. With the disappearance of separation, fear also disappears. The basic existential fear of death, fear of non-being, dissolves, because it becomes obvious that what you truly are can never die. The body will die. Thoughts will cease. Personality will disappear. But the awareness you are is eternal. It was before this body and will be after. It doesn't born and doesn't die. It simply is. This is not belief, not concept, not consoling philosophy. This is direct knowledge, immediate experience of your immortal nature. With fear, desire also disappears, not in the sense that you no longer want anything. Desires can arise at the level of body, mind, but there's no longer the obsessive, compulsive desire that drives ego. You stop seeking yourself in the external. Stop thinking that the next thing, next experience, next achievement will bring you happiness. You realize what you've sought your whole life is already here, always was here. This doesn't mean life becomes passive or boring. On the contrary, it becomes more alive, more vivid, because you're truly present in it for the first time, not lost in thoughts about past or future. Awakened life is a paradox. On one hand, nothing changes. You continue living in the same body, in the same world, doing the same things. On the other hand, everything changes. Quality of presence, depth of experience, absence of inner struggle. A Zen proverb says, "Before enlightenment, mountains are mountains, rivers are rivers. During enlightenment, mountains are not mountains, rivers are not rivers. After enlightenment, mountains are again mountains, rivers are again rivers." What changed? Identification. In the first state, you're completely lost in concepts. In the second, you see the illusory nature of concepts. In the third, you see both the reality of the world of forms and its illusory nature simultaneously. You can use concepts, play with them, but don't fall into their trap. You can play a role in life, but don't forget it's a role. You can be in the world, but not of the world. It's important to understand awakening is not the end of the path. It's the beginning of a completely new journey. A journey of integration, embodiment, living the awakened state in all aspects of life. One can experience a moment of awakening and return to old patterns. This is called temporary awakening or a glimpse. The real work is stabilizing this state, deepening, expanding. It's the purification of all layers of being, physical, energetic, mental, emotional, so they can become transparent conductors of awakened consciousness. It's service. When you awaken, there naturally arises an aspiration to help others awaken. Not from ego, not from desire to be a teacher or savior, but from simple understanding we are all one. When one part suffers, everything suffers. It's love. Not romantic love, not attachment, but unconditional love for all that is. Because when you realize yourself as everything, how can you not love? It's freedom. Not freedom to do what you want, but freedom from the tyranny of mind, from endless desires and fears of ego. Freedom to be what you are, without masks, without defenses, without games. It's simplicity. Awakened life is incredibly simple.
because there's no longer complexity created by mind. There's only what is in its direct, immediate obviousness. It's mystery. Even having awakened, you don't know everything. On the contrary, you realize the depth of the mystery of existence. But now you live this mystery rather than trying to solve it with mind. I'll end with words from ancient teachings. Be still and know. Be unmoved and know what you are. Don't know with mind, be this knowing. Don't try to achieve, realize you already are what you seek. Your true nature is not something distant, not some high state of consciousness unattainable for an ordinary person. It's what you are, right now, at this very moment. Closer than breath, closer than heartbeat, closer than your own thoughts. So close you don't notice it. So obvious you miss it. Stop seeking. Stop becoming. Drop everything you think you know, and in this complete stopping, in this total silence, in this absolute openness, know yourself. You were never lost. You were always here, always free, always whole. There was only forgetting, and now an invitation to remember. Awakening awaits you. Not in the future, not after many years of practice, not when you become ready. Right now, in this moment, in this silence between thoughts. Will you dare to look? Will you dare to die to everything you thought you were? Will you dare to be born anew in your true nature? The journey begins here, and it never ends, because awakening is not a destination, it's the path itself. It's life itself, lived with full awareness, with full openness, with full love.